When I switched my first grade classroom to flexible seating, everyone thought I had completely lost my mind. I remember other teachers kept coming into my room to see what was happening, and honestly, I wasn't sure if it was going to work either. But after trying it, I learned a few things that nobody talks about. So today, I'm going to tell you exactly what worked, what didn't, and whether I'd do it again. So let's go. I decided to try flexible seating for several reasons, but mostly it was a classroom management strategy because I noticed that it was becoming more and more common for me to have kids who just couldn't sit still. They were very wiggly in their chairs, always wanting to get up and move around, and I was forever saying, sit down in your seat, or don't tip your chair back, you're going to fall, or that kind of thing. And so I got to thinking about it one day when I was in a professional development day. None of the teachers really wanted to be there because it was the beginning of the year. We all had so much to do. And throughout the day, I was looking around the room and teachers were whispering and doodling, getting up for coffee, checking their phones, going to the restroom, anything except paying attention to the speaker. And it hit me, if a room full of adults feel like this when they're sitting in a professional development all day, imagine how kids are feeling all day long in school. And it doesn't mean that you're a boring teacher. And it doesn't mean that they hate school. It just means that this isn't really what they want to be doing, and they're kind of uncomfortable. Kids aren't trying to misbehave. Sometimes they just need to move. So that's when I decided I was going to try flexible seating. So I wasn't really sure it was going to work, and I was really worried that it was going to create chaos. I basically had sort of three big fears. So fear number one, I thought that kids were going to fight over where to sit. I got a couple of yoga balls, a couple of wobble stools, but I definitely didn't have enough for everybody. So I was worried the kids were going to get upset if they didn't get to sit on one of those. But that didn't really happen. On the first day of school, we started right on day one. I gave everyone an assigned seat just to make it easy. And then I explained how flexible seating worked. I used a pocket chart to have kids choose their seats every day. And I made one thing very clear. I always had the final say. We established a few simple rules: choose a seat where you're going to do your best, use the equipment correctly, take care of your materials, and basically understand that I could move anyone if the seat wasn't working. So then at the end of every day, for the first week or so, we'd meet together at the carpet and talk about their seating choices for that day. I'd ask them things like, was it a good choice for you? Were you able to stay on task and do your work? Was there anything you didn't like about the seat? And then everybody had a little reflection notebook, and they would mark where they sat that day and if they liked it or not. It just kind of gave them a chance to think about what did or didn't work for them at that seat. And so some days they'd sit with several friends, some days they'd sit with one friend, and some days they'd be sitting alone. And then kind of as the year went on, they basically would sit with different people every day. And so what happened was that they made friends with everybody in the classroom. I think that sitting with different kids every day really kind of kept the cliques from forming. And for the most part, everybody got along really well. So instead of fighting over the seats, it kind of had the opposite effect and created more of a really nice classroom community. All right, so the second thing that I was afraid of was that kids who had to sit alone were going to feel like they were being punished, because there were several areas of the room where there was just room for one person. And a lot of times in classrooms, kids who get in trouble get moved to a desk all by themselves in the corner somewhere. So I was worried about that. But actually, I was completely wrong about that. Our students sort of came in at staggered times from around 8:15 to 8:45. So kids would sort of wander in at different times. And I was totally surprised at how often those first kids who came in that had the pick of any seat in the classroom would pick the desks or the tables where they sat alone. I never expected that. I thought for sure every kid was going to want to sit with their friends or a buddy or something, but not at all. So I guess even kids like to have some time alone now and then. And that was really eye-opening for me. The other thing that was nice was if I had a kid who was acting up or not working or whatever, I could always just move them to a single desk or table, and it didn't feel like as much of a punishment. Because we'd established at the beginning that we wanted to choose seats that helped us work better. So everybody knew that that was why we sat where we did each day. And so if somebody was fooling around or not working, I could just say something like, Billy, will you trade seats with Jason? So it never looked like, oh, he's the bad kid. He has to sit alone over there, because everybody sat alone sometimes. So sitting alone didn't have that negative connotation to it. And then finally, I was really worried about how much money this was going to cost me. I figured it was going to be pretty expensive and that I was going to have to buy a bunch of furniture. And I was actually pleasantly surprised that that didn't happen. I ended up doing what I would call a sort of modified version of flexible seating. For me, it really wasn't about yoga balls and crate seats and wobble stools and stuff like that. It was more about giving kids the option of where they wanted to sit every day and where they'd be comfortable. So my solution was to remove some of the larger tables and chairs in my room. I didn't replace everything. I kept some regular desks and tables, added a few yoga balls and wobble stools. I had a low table where kids could sit on the floor, and some other flexible options like cushions and single tables where kids could sit. My goal really wasn't fancy furniture. It was giving kids choices of where they wanted to sit. So a lot of the furniture, I just used it in different ways. In terms of how much it cost, it really didn't cost me much at all. Most of it came from garage sales and things I already owned. I did do a donor's choose project for the wobble stools, and I found the yoga balls at Five Below for $5 each. So the total cost out of my pocket was about $40. So what surprised me the most were the classroom management benefits. The kids got along better overall because they sat with everybody and made friends with everyone. They really started making more responsible choices in terms of where they learned best. So I didn't have to say, go sit somewhere else. They just sort of started making better choices of where they sat and who they sat with. The wiggly kids finally had a place where they could sit and not get in trouble for moving. So those behavior issues were solved before they even started. And the kids, they became more independent, giving them a choice of where they'd sit, making sure they had their supplies, putting things back where they belonged. All sort of came together better because they had to remember all of that because they were moving to a new seat every day. But before you start going out buying yoga balls, I don't think the seating is what made it work. I think the routines are what made it work. In fact, I recently did an entire video about the classroom routines and procedures that I taught. So if you haven't seen that one yet, I definitely recommend watching that next. So for flexible seating, our routines were things like using the pocket chart to make their seat selection every day, reflecting on whether the seat worked for them or not, the rules that we'd set in place, and knowing that I had the final say. I think those things established expectations and then the kids followed through. If you'd like to use the same system that I use, I put everything together in my flexible seating starter kit, and I'll link that below. So I don't think that flexible seating improved my classroom management. I think that good classroom management made flexible seating possible. Would I do it again? Yes, 100%. But I don't necessarily think that flexible seating is for everyone. If you're a brand new teacher or you're still working on routines and expectations, I'd probably wait. I think flexible seating works best after good classroom management is already in place. If you want to know anything more about flexible seating, just pop your questions down in the comments and I'll be happy to elaborate on anything else that you want to know. So until next time, remember to make learning feel like play. I'll talk to you soon.